Dear shorthand writers, welcome to YouTube channel Parliamentary Reporter. This is English shorthand dictation number 76 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. Mr. President, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this resolution. I stand here to support the resolution moved by Pandit Nehru with all the force that I can command. This resolution contains all the principles that need to be enunciated in such a kind of resolution to be placed before this House. First of all, it has stated the objective that we all in India have in our minds, that is, to proclaim at a certain date the independence of India. Here we have only resolved that we shall proclaim the independence of India, and we have that firm resolve in our mind to get the independence of India. That is the desire of everyone in India. I cannot imagine that there will be anybody in India from one end of India to the other end who will be against that kind of objective. Then it proclaims also that the kind of constitution that we shall make will be a republican form of government, a democratic form of government, a government by the people and for the people. That is surely the desire of all the people of India. It is true that there are some monarchies in India, but we envisage the time when all these monarchies will become at least wholly constitutional monarchies like the monarchy of England. And we believe that even the people of all the states envisage that in their own states there will be a democratic form of government. Therefore, there can be no objection at all to these declarations that we have in this resolution. Then it speaks of the territories which will be included in the Union of India, and it is comprehensive enough. Then in the third paragraph, it speaks of autonomous units and says that those autonomous units which are now autonomous according to present boundaries or with such other boundaries as they may have afterwards will remain autonomous units together with residuary powers and will exercise all powers and functions of government and administration except such powers which are assigned to the central government. This is our desire. This is the desire of all the people of this country. It is the object before us that each province will be autonomous. In this connection, I want to say that it is very unfortunate that the idea of sections was introduced in the Cabinet Mission Declaration, and that in a section according to the latest interpretation given by His Majesty's government, a certain province will be outvoted by the majority of members of another province. I speak especially in connection with section C, which relates to Assam. Assam is a non-Muslim province. There are 7 non-Muslims who are representatives of Assam in this constituent assembly, and 3 are Muslims. I am sorry that my Muslim friends are not present here in this assembly. I wish they were here. In Bengal, there are 27 non-Muslims and 33 Muslims. If we are brought into a section, there will be 36 Muslims and 34 non-Muslims. And if the voting in that section will be by a simple majority vote as interpreted by His Majesty's government, it will mean that our Assam constitution will be framed by the majority of the people of Bengal. that is the Muslim League. We cannot conceive of anything that is so unjust as this. It is a matter which should be considered by all the members of this Constituent Assembly. When the Cabinet Mission made its declaration, we in Assam thought that such kind of interpretation might be given in the future, but we took it for granted that the Cabinet Mission would not be so unreasonable as to place Assam, which is a non-Muslim province, to come under a Muslim province, and that our constitution would be framed by the majority of the members in the section. We never thought that it would be like that, because we considered that it is unjust for the people of Assam to be placed in such a position. Sir, I was very much gladdened by the declaration of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel the other day that the Congress had not accepted the interpretation of His Majesty's government. We still hold that position. It appears to me that the British Cabinet Mission has changed its mentality from what it was when they were here in India. When they were in India, they were under certain circumstances and were influenced by the opinion at that time in this country. When they have gone back to England, they are placed under a different circumstances, influenced by the Conservative Party there, and the force which Mr. Jinnah has placed upon their minds. They have changed their opinion altogether. That is what appears to me. I would like to know from Lord Pethick Lawrence whether in reality there was that idea in the minds of the Cabinet Mission when they were here in India. There was nothing in any of their declarations, in any of their writings, that said that the vote in the sections would be by a simple majority vote. The principle of driving by force a non-Muslim province to come under a Muslim province is absolutely wrong. Mr. Jinnah has forced His Majesty's government to commit this great injustice to our province, and we feel that we shall have the sympathy and support of this august body, that our province may not be driven to that pitiable condition. I want Mr. Jinnah and the League members to be here, and I want them to come here to take part in the framing of the Constitution of India. I will expect him and all the others to be just. I do not want anything else except that they will act like gentlemen and be just. Everybody knows it is unjust that we should be forced into such a position in which we are now placed by the recent interpretation of His Majesty's government. We are an autonomous province and a non-Muslim province. Why should we be forced to go to that kind of a section which could outvote the province of Assam and frame the constitution according to the desire of the majority, created artificially? It may be said that this will at once bring a conflict between the British government and this Constituent Assembly. This need not be. Someone said that a deviation from the four walls of the Declaration of May 16th and giving a different interpretation would be revolutionary. This Constituent Assembly need not adopt that attitude at all. I believe that we can adopt a friendly attitude. We thank the British government for the good effort it made to bring a compromise between the Hindus and the Muslims. The British government made good recommendations. It has acted as peacemaker. We shall, as far as practicable, implement its recommendations, but we shall like responsible persons, be free to deviate from them whenever we find it is impracticable and unjust to carry out literally to the letter any of its recommendations. We shall frame a constitution which will do justice to all minorities and which shall not overlook any community. If the members of the Muslim League cooperate, we shall heartily welcome them. After we have finished framing the constitution, the whole of India will get the opportunity to see what kind of constitution this constituent assembly has framed.